Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Switch Statement Podcast. It's a podcast for investigations into miscellaneous tech topics.
This is our 15th episode on Elon Musk by Walter Isaacson. We'd love to hear from you. Send your comments and feedback to team@thkp.co.
Hey, John, how are you doing?
Hey, Matt, I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm loving life.
Nice.
Ready for the holidays. You excited for the holidays?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm not a big holiday guy, but yeah, I guess I'm excited.
Would you, permanently destroy the holidays?
Yeah, I'm a total Scrooge. I would cancel Christmas.
So maybe this is too in the weeds. You were actually just over my house the other day. At 11 a.m., I have an AI read me off a hypothetical question.
Yeah, which I love, by the way. You're sitting in Matt's apartment, and all of a sudden this voice chimes in.
British voice.
Yeah, and gives you this thoughtful tidbit on the universe.
Yeah. If you could permanently remove all holidays and no one would have any recollection of them, would you do it?
Yeah.
But we're talking about, the holiday that we're talking about right now is Father's Day.
Yeah, and we're talking
who
about
better
Father's Day
to represent Father's Day
than Elon Musk, the greatest father of our time.
Certainly the biggest father. If the defining characteristic is having a child,
then his score is very high. Especially if weird names give you extra points.
Oh my fucking god, dude! Do you want to say it? Because I don't think I could. I would just start vomiting.
Yeah. So he named his child Technomechanicus.
Technomechanicus Musk.
Yeah.
I do think, because I've said this before, as nerdy as Elon is, I really do blame Grimes for all these names, because this is his third child with Grimes, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because he had normal names, although maybe his prior mothers, or the prior people that he was having kids with, just vetoed his insane ideas.
Yeah.
But so they call him Tao. It's also so funny because it's you're going to name them this insane thing that no one could possibly actually call him. No one's going to call him Technomechanicus.
No, it's just dumb. It's they crave attention, and so they name their kids completely insane shit. Yeah, so the drama between Grimes and Siobhan, right? Siobhan Zillis.
Yeah.
Sort of continues because this is the time where Grimes becomes aware of the whole thing where Elon Musk fathered children with Siobhan Zillis. I guess Musk also wants to be more a part of their lives. He wants their kids to take his name, which I can imagine to Grimes is a little bit off-putting. You're trying to start a family with this guy, and all of a sudden he's well, I also want these other kids to take my name. That would be a little, I don't know, sad if you were Grimes.
I don't know.
He also slept with Sergey Brin's wife.
Yeah. Dude, I was actually just, I was skimming over this section, and that's why I didn't have a good response to that, to your last thing. And that was just stood out to me, and I was like, what?
Yeah. Why are all these women sleeping with him? He just seems like a total douche.
He does seem like a douche. He has the Kavorka.
Kavorka?
Kavorka? Yeah. Have you watched Seinfeld?
I've seen Seinfeld.
Lore of the Animal. It's this...
Oh.
It's something that...
Kramer's quite attractive, in my opinion.
Where there's something about certain men where they have this irresistible quality that just makes women want to just sleep with them.
Love that.
And I guess that's what Elon Musk has.
Yeah, so during this time, Errol emails him.
Oh my God.
This utterly deranged screed talking racist stuff. White people are better. Black people are taking over South Africa, etc. Putin is a great man.
Biden is a pedophile.
But anyway, so Elon mostly ignores his father, but he is sending him this monthly stipend.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Errol sort of guilts Elon. He's I'm super old. I can't make money. And so I need, an income. And Elon is basically giving him $2,000 a month or something.
It's so funny though, because at this time, Musk's financial manager tells Errol to stop making this series of YouTube videos titled Dad of a Genius.
Yeah.
Which is also so funny because I'm wondering, like, did that come from Elon? And again, like, it's another hilarious example of, like, everyone's a free speech absolutist until their racist father is making YouTube videos about how
he's censoring, he's deplatforming his own father.
his own father.
Yeah.
So-
Dude. Very hypocritical. You know, I think it's a testament to Elon's thinking where he's, from moment to moment, he's just completely capricious.
Yeah.
He keeps in touch with this woman, Tallulah Riley, who we had mentioned before. They married, then divorced, and then did they marry again and then divorce again?
I think
can't
they
remember.
did. I think they got back together. I don't know if they remarried, but they were like living together.
But they keep in touch. They're still friends. It sounded like it's kind of a bittersweet relationship. Like she's kind of moved on a little bit, but she still has some feelings for him.
I mean, she has a new significant other, this Brody
Right.
Sangster. Like, one point I wanted to say is, like, how Elon spends his time. I can't imagine the tenor of Elon's life. It's like,
Oh, it's so insane.
he's taking a one-day trip to England because the woman who he was married to, like 3 women back, her father died.
He just has a nonstop life. Like,
Excuse
I don't
me,
think
it
he's
was-
sitting for a single instant.
It was a close friend of hers that died. But yeah, it's like he has time to just like take these one-off trips. And like you're saying, like, I think he can't sit for an instant.
Yeah. Which, you know, in a way, it's impressive, I guess. But he wants to build a home, quote unquote home, where his soul can reside. So he hires this Norman Foster guy, who's a great architect. There's a great Norman Foster building in New York that I really like. It has all these triangular glass panes. He also did that like blinking eye bridge in London, which I guess is like unstable and shakes whenever anyone walks on it. They talk about this, you know, quote unquote home, and it quickly becomes this like utterly outrageous art project. And Elon just kind of abandons the whole idea.
We spent basically all of last episode on Twitter, but now we get back to SpaceX, talking about Starbase shakeup.
Yeah, and so Musk is trying to, I think he has this philosophy that he just needs to like inject energy into his companies every 2 months or so.
Yeah.
And so he basically comes into SpaceX and he's like, hey, you know that ship that you were going to put on the, you know, the landing pad in 10 days? Let's do it tonight. Like he's just asking them to like extremely accelerate their plans. And this Junkosa guy, who we've talked about a few times, you know, they have this big meeting where they're basically talking about how are we going to accelerate things. And Elon is like, I'll think about it. And all the other people leave the meeting, and Junkosa goes and breaks into a tiki bar with all of his, you know, with all of the other people in the meeting. And I guess they just drink. And meanwhile, Musk decides that, yeah, we got to accelerate these timelines. So he orders them to get this rocket on the pad in 1 day instead of 10.
It's easy for me to read this and be like, you know, I could do that. Like I could do what all the crazy shit that Musk is doing. But like, I just know myself, and I'm a peacemaker, and like,
Yeah.
I could never be the kind of person who's like, hey, you know how I previously asked you to do X? Like, okay, I need you to do X like now. Like, I need you to do it in half the time that I previously, or like 1/10 the time.
Yeah.
I just know that I could never do that. Like, I'm all about fairness and all this stuff, but it's like, apparently, in order to make these successful companies, these are the sorts of shit that you need to pull. And
Yeah.
it makes me sad.
This is the thing. I feel like America puts this emphasis on these company leaders and their quote unquote greatness. When you read a book like this, you realize that a lot of Elon Musk's so-called greatness comes from his horrible treatment of those around him.
Yeah.
And I find myself asking the question, like, would I even want this? It's like, yeah, sure, he has more money than anyone else, but he's just left and right alienating people.
Yeah.
There's a section where, or earlier we discussed this. There was this Optimus guy, or is a Tesla guy, had put together this PowerPoint presentation. They were going to do AI day one.
Yeah.
And Musk just like reamed this guy out in front of everyone else. And this guy, like for weeks, he just felt horrible. He was going to leave the company. There's a section where this guy sees Musk again. And he basically asks him, he's like, hey, do you remember that time you reamed me out? And Musk has no recollection of it.
Yeah, which it's so funny. And this is like the asymmetry in these relationships.
Yeah.
Because this was one of this guy's like defining life moments.
Right.
And it wasn't even novel or like significant enough for Musk to remember, let alone
he's just doing that on a daily basis.
Yeah. Apparently.
Yeah. But Grimes and X got sprayed with hydraulic fluid because they were, rushing to get this.
Yeah.
And Grimes is like, is this toxic waste? And she's like freaking out because her son is like covered in hydraulic fluid.
It's so weird because like it said it had like oil in it, right? Couldn't that be toxic?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you want to be sprayed with hydraulic fluid, but it's not going to kill you probably.
I guess. And he makes the Apocalypse Now reference. I love the smell of hydraulic fluid in the morning.
Yeah.
Then we move on to Optimus.
Yes.
Making the humanoid robot. And we've touched on this, right? Because at this point he had already had that like woman dancing around in the Optimus costume. Is that right?
Yeah. So they've already had AI Day 1 where they basically announced that they were doing Optimus. Mm-hmm. And this chapter is about them sort of starting to get down and dirty, like learning how hands work. They have a section where they talk about how the human wrist has 3 degrees of motion, but that's super expensive to like create an actuator that can do that. Mm-hmm. But Musk, basically insists that like, oh, this thing has to have, near human movement. Yeah. And, his logic is sound. He's basically talking about how the entire world is designed around the human anatomy. Mm-hmm. And so this, in order for a robot to like truly be functional in the human world, it should be shaped like a human and be able to move like a human does. Right.
Yeah, I mean, like even something like opening a door handle, that's a perfect example where it's like it probably operates under the assumption that you're going to have some of those degrees of freedom.
Yeah, totally. Exactly. So, I do think that this human anatomy robot, once someone actually figures it out, it will be a very strong product.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting there, right? Because there have been companies, and I don't know if they're actually selling it, but
I mean, there's that Butler.
Figure. Isn't it Figure One?
I've seen Figure One. Figure One, I don't think is being sold yet. There's another company, though, some Scandinavian company, that is actually selling a human butler. Oh. But it's being controlled by operators.
Yeah, that was crazy. It's like, yep, you're just going to have to be okay with someone having the ability to move around in your home in like a robot avatar.
Oh, Neo? I think it's the Neo home robot.
Neo.
Created by 1X Technologies. There is another robot called Aeon. I've said this before, but I think that robots are basically going to become the new, like, big household purchase. It's like you have the house, you have car, it's going to be robots.
Dude, if I could be convinced that this robot would... I mean, I don't want some random teleoperator operating it in my house, but... If I could be convinced that this thing was going to be able to fold the laundry, do the dishes, I would drop $20K easy.
Yeah, instantly. I wouldn't even think about it. So, yeah, this is going to be a huge business once someone figures it out. This is a lot of the reason a lot of people think Tesla's valuation actually makes sense. Mm-hmm. Is because supposedly they're going to figure this problem out. But in any case, at the point of the writing of this chapter, they're trying to figure out the basics, just like what sort of sensors do we put in the fingertips, that sort of thing. And they're trying to balance cost cutting with, actually achieving true human motion. There's a bit of a discussion on if these robots are going to turn on humanity and murder all of us.
Probably at some point.
Yeah, at some point it'll happen, but, don't worry about that yet. And Musk is trying to think of ways of preventing that scenario.
I think Neuralink is our best hope on this.
Really?
Yeah.
So we'll be able to communicate with the robot via Neuralink?
You could imagine a robot's articulation is getting good enough. you could just like store your brain in like a vat somewhere, and then it just beams. You know, you have this avatar. You could do whatever. You could do the most risky thing in the world. It's like, oh, I lost that avatar. Like, I guess I'm gonna need to get a new one.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the future is bright. I'm excited.
One of the things that they talk about in this section, which is just like how amazing the human body is, and I know you talked about like the wrist articulation, and you know, and it just is unreal. One of the things that has always been amazing to me is just how silent movement is for humans.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Like,
don't hear any like weird gears.
You're not hearing gear, whirring. You don't have to like oil. I mean, I guess there are like lubricants in your joints and stuff like that, but it's like it's perfectly silent. You have these sophisticated motions, and that you can sense how firmly you're grasping things. I don't know. It just is amazing to me. And even as sophisticated as we have gotten as a civilization, like these are still incredibly hard problems, and we're not even get close to getting something that is as articulate as a human hand.
No, it is wild. I mean, it's something people don't think about a lot. There was a really good book called Song of the Cell. It wasn't so much anatomy. It was more like the chemistry that's taking place inside the human body. Mm-hmm. But it was a huge testament to just how insanely complicated we are, and how we take all of these little things that are happening inside the human body like millions of times per second. We take all that stuff for granted, and how we don't even really understand it yet. You know, it's like even the cutting edge of biological science still has a lot of open questions.
Yeah, I think that's going to be big. Like, if you can tap into genetic engineering, because it seems like a cell is the way to make these incredibly tiny structures that do very sophisticated things. I just don't think traditional manufacturing techniques are going to scale to that level.
Yeah, I mean, I think for certain applications, you can't really beat biology. It'll be cool.
Yeah, I don't know. And I guess the idea is just once you have self-replication, it just seems like a super powerful platform to do whatever. I think the idea of also like designing our own genetic system. It's like, okay, like why we don't have to be beholden to the way that like what genetics dictates to us. You know, and I think we talked about this during the Gödel Bach episode about genetics, where it's like there actually is this point where there's just like this mapping where they map from a genetic sequence to a particular amino acid. And it's like, that is totally arbitrary. And they've actually changed, they've made, and I don't think they've made whole organisms, but like they've demonstrated that they can make different mappings. Which just feels crazy to me.
Oh, it's insane. It's there's a lot of possibility there.
I think that was all I had. Did you have anything else that you wanted to?
Not really. I mean, he wants Optimus to be run as though it's a company that doesn't have any money.
Yeah.
You know, even though Optimus is part of the larger Tesla, he just sort of wants it to have that entrepreneurial vibe where everyone's constantly, you know, running around. He says this quote, he wants good news to be said once quietly and bad news to be said very loudly and often. I thought that was kind of interesting.
That's interesting.
And then, they announced this AI Day 2, which is where they're going to actually present Optimus to the public for the first time.
Man, that like good news quietly and bad news loudly, that just sounds like the antithesis of everything I've ever heard about the way human psychology, like reinforcement should work.
Well, I think he's talking about like internally when these tactical meetings are taking place, he wants bad news to be like immediately brought to the forefront so that they can kind of deal with it. At least that was my take, you know, because like if you're communicating externally, for instance, like obviously you want to do the opposite.
Right.
And so I think it was a very contextual comment, and it was very much in reference to these like tactical internal meetings.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that is a risk as a CEO, that if people think that never coming to the CEO with bad news is the way to advance in their career, they're just going to hide it from the CEO. And then, because if he's saying that to them, being like, hey, you should be sharing bad news to me loudly, then that makes sense.
Yeah, but that's where the chapter ends. I mean, there's a little bit of foreshadowing with they're about to present this robot, and it's a high risk thing because they're going to have the robot, you know, walk out on stage and wave its hand or something, and we just saw the Russian robot fall flat
Oh my
on its
God.
face.
Yeah. That was just recently, right? And it was
Yeah.
like, people were talking about how they were getting like showered with bits of plastic that had just
Yeah.
like broken off of the.
What a pathetic display. But anyway, so it's a high risk thing to show off a robot and not have it attached to any wires or anything.
Yeah, and it sounds like some last minute insanity running around. So, all right, well, let's leave it there, and I will see you next time, John.
See you next time, Matt.